Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist is a novel that inspires dreamers. All of us are on a journey called life, searching for our own treasures. Paulo Coelho uses the story of Santiago, a shepherd boy traveling to the pyramids in search of a treasure, as a metaphor for our lives. Along the journey, Santiago encounters events that gradually reveal the truth of the world, which is the essence of alchemy. While alchemy is traditionally known as the ability to transform any metal into gold, the alchemy described by Paulo Coelho refers not to physical gold but to the wisdom to transform one's life into something greater. Personally, this book has been my guiding star, a parable, a scripture, and a beacon during the most challenging moments of my life. Written by a Brazilian author, this magical work will undoubtedly stand as a timeless classic for humanity. I'd like to share some memorable passages from this extraordinary book. The purpose of alchemy. The purpose of alchemy is to live a better life. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. Steel fulfills its purpose until the world no longer needs it as steel, at which point it transforms into gold. Seeking and finding your own treasure to live a better life. This is alchemy. The personal legend. Each of us, at the dawn of our youth, knows what our personal legend is. At that time, everything is clear, and everything seems possible. Young people aren't afraid to dream big and to yearn for what they desire. But as time passes, a mysterious force makes them feel that realizing their personal legend is impossible. This force seems negative, but it is actually what tests your spirit and willpower, helping you realize your personal legend. There is one great truth in this world. If you truly desire something, the entire universe conspires to help you achieve it. This desire comes from the soul of the universe, and fulfilling it is your mission on Earth. Whether it's the desire to travel, to marry the daughter of a wool merchant, or to discover treasure, it's all the same. To realize your personal legend is the only true obligation of every individual on Earth. And when you want something with all your heart, the universe will conspire to help you achieve it. The mysterious chain of life. The closer you get to your dream, the more your personal legend becomes the true reason for living. As you go through life, you'll discover that one event is connected to another in a mysterious chain. This chain led Santiago to become a shepherd, to repeatedly dream the same dream, to travel to a town near Africa, to meet the old king in the plaza, and ultimately to move closer to his dream. The closer you get to your dream, the more your personal legend becomes your ultimate reason for living. The Alchemist's advice. The alchemist, sensing the time was right, gave Santiago an important lesson. Before a dream is realized, the soul of the world tests everything we've learned on the journey. It does this not out of malice, but so we can master the lessons we've encountered as we strive toward our dreams. Most people give up at this point. In the language of the desert, this is when people die of thirst just as the palm trees of an oasis appear on the horizon. The search for one's destiny always begins with beginner's luck and ends with a test of perseverance. Santiago then remembered an old proverb from his homeland. The darkest hour of the night comes just before the dawn. Respect for each other. Each person learns in their own way. Your way of learning might not be the same as someone else's. But we are all traveling the path toward our own personal legends. That's why we must respect one another. The fear of failure. Those who pursue their personal legends already know everything they need to know. The only thing that prevents them from realizing their dream is the fear of failure. Even if you fail, it doesn't matter. Because failing while pursuing your personal legend is far better than dying without ever knowing it existed. The fear of the unknown. During his travels through the desert, Santiago became friends with a camel driver. One day, the man shared his story. "I used to live near El Karam. I thought I would spend my entire life there with my family, on my land, until the day I died. One year, after a particularly good harvest, my family and I decided to go on the pilgrimage to Mecca. It was the only obligation I still needed to fulfill. The thought brought me immense joy. But one day, the ground shook, and the Nile overflowed its banks. What I thought only happened to others had happened to me. The flood destroyed my farm. My neighbors feared they would lose their olive trees, and my wife panicked about our children being swept away by the water. I saw everything I'd built get washed away, and I froze in fear. With no other options, I became a camel driver. But through it all, I came to understand Allah's wisdom. If you want something with all your heart, or if you truly need it, there is no need to fear the unknown. What we fear most is losing what we already have. Our life, our crops, our possessions. But when we realize that our lives and the history of the world are written by the same hand, our fears disappear. When fear takes over, the human heart fears realizing its greatest dreams because it feels unworthy or incapable of achieving them. The heart dwells on lost loves, missed opportunities, and treasures forever buried in the sand. This fear can be paralyzing because we know that if our dreams come true, we will suffer if they are taken from us. But the fear of suffering is worse than suffering itself. No heart has ever suffered when it is in search of its dream, because every moment of that search is a moment spent in the presence of God and eternity. Simple things. Simple things are the most extraordinary things, and only the wise can see them. While crossing the desert, Santiago and the alchemist encountered Arab soldiers who searched their belongings. The soldiers found a small crystal flask filled with liquid and a yellow glass object. One of them asked, "What are these?" "They are the philosopher's stone and the elixir of life," the alchemist replied. "The elixir prevents illness, and the stone turns any metal into gold." The soldiers laughed, thinking the alchemist was mad, and let them go. Santiago, bewildered, asked, "Why did you say that?" Alchemist answered, "To show you a simple truth. Even when faced with immense treasure, most people cannot see it. Why? Because they do not believe in it." The wisdom of the heart. Listen to your heart. It knows everything. Everything on earth has something to teach you. You don't need to understand the desert. A single grain of sand contains all the marvels of creation. Listen to your heart. It came from the soul of the world, and one day it will return there. 3 types of alchemists. Paulo Coelho's teacher told him there are 3 types of alchemists. Those who don't understand the language of alchemy, and only imitate it. Those who understand it but give up because they realize it requires more than intellect. It requires the heart. Those who discover the secrets of alchemy through their lives, without ever hearing the word. The teacher shared a story to illustrate the 3rd type. One day, the Virgin Mary visited a monastery with the infant Jesus. Priests lined up to offer their tributes. Some recited beautiful poems, others displayed illustrations of scripture. But at the end of the line was a simple man with no formal education. All he could do was juggle oranges, a skill he learned from his father, a circus performer. Fearing he might embarrass the monastery, the other priests tried to prevent him from offering his tribute. But he was determined to express his devotion, however humble it might seem. From his pocket, he took a few oranges and began to juggle, tossing them into the air with all the love and sincerity in his heart. It was all he had to offer. For the first time, the baby Jesus smiled, clapping his tiny hands in delight. The Virgin Mary, moved by the simple act, allowed this priest alone to hold her child. I hope this video gives you kind of inspiration. This video was made from Alchemist, the novel written by Paulo Coelho. Thank you for watching. I wish you peace today.